Alrighty, welcome back to the new Big Review series. Cool, so this time I tried to focus a little bit more on high funds games because I'm kind of interested to see how people in different skill brackets deal with the new high fund tiers, just kind of how that goes. So yeah, I mean, not all of the games are high funds, but a good number of them are, and we'll get to see some tier like some top tier high fund as well as some mid tier and low tier high fund as well. So I also wanted to sort of see how the new maps played out. So because there was a league rotation not too long. So with this one, we're playing on Lacrimosa. Lacrimosa enjoyed tournament play about 2 or 3 years ago, and it was really popular at the time when it came out on tournament. A lot of people really liked it. I still think it's a really fun one. The defining feature about Lacrimosa is the lack of airports. So as we see, Mewtwo's choice of Drake here is smart. And then actually the Sasha to counter the Drake pick is pretty interesting too. Because, yeah, Drake is pretty strong here, both lack of airport and there's a lot of planes. So the Super CO power really hampers vehicle movement a lot. So let's talk about the players. We have Mewtwo here, and we have the off one. I'm not familiar with either of these players personally. So Mewtwo is 8-10 with a 50-50 record of 50 games. The off one has 8 games played with a rating of 768. 50 games played overall. It looks like they're playing a lot of games. So yeah, I mean, overall, I would say the choice of Drake here is pretty smart, and the choice of Sasha also makes a lot of sense. So, well, considering how strong Drake is. So, yeah, let's get into the moves. So it looks like Mewtwo captures the enemy property right away, which is a good thing to do. Capturing forward right here makes sense. I forget exactly how it works, but you can do things like go for this chain early, supported by artillery. And the other thing to think about is like if you can get a foothold in the center, good things tend to happen there because there's 6 properties in here. So if you can like hold on to the sides, not lose too much ground, as well as like take center, you'll be in a good solid position. And then here, capturing back towards the tower is pretty standard. It's like the one city that's close to your base, so that makes sense. Yeah, pretty normal looking moves here so far. I mean, pretty good actually for people that are just beginners, pretty much. Actually, hold on, one second. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right. Okay, so we're back here. So good opening moves so far. Okay, so goes for the tower capture immediately. I personally prefer going here and then getting the tower after. It slows down your tower capture by 3 turns or so, but I don't think that really matters because you're generally not going to fight that early. So yeah, I would personally prefer to capture the tower later. Otherwise, everything looks hunky-dory. Pretty normal looking moves. The weird thing actually is nobody's built any tanks yet, so they're both kind of floating a lot of money. So yeah, we'll probably expect to be seeing some heavy tanks pretty soon. So for Drake to do that, I guess not too unusual, but for Sasha to float all that money, probably not great because she wants to get out those vehicles early. She gets a little bit earlier than her opponent. So I think probably the more vehicles there are on the board, like the more she feels her advantage. So Like it's more likely that you hit a timing when you have more vehicles out. So Sasha should probably like full buy next turn. If it was me. Okay, all right. Floating 24K. Definitely one of these infantry should have been a Neo tank. Like a Neo tank here would have been good. Neo tank here would have been good. So yeah, that's my opinion. All right, Sasha with 36K has to build something, right? APC and no vehicle. Yeah, so APC is good. It gets well, the APC doesn't boost towards these cities quite as fast as you might hope. But yeah, I mean, at least it's a start. But yeah, Sasha needed to buy for sure that turn. So basically, the theory about why you don't float is like all that value in your bank, it doesn't do you any good when it's just sitting there. So if you spend it all at the end of your turn, then like all that money that's sitting around is transferred and is transformed into vehicles that get you positional and tactical advantages. So the money is worth more in vehicles than it is sitting in your bank, almost all the time. The exceptions are like when it's the early part of the game where you might want to build an extra infantry to capture something. Okay, so first vehicle. Okay, so Drake does double rocket and still doesn't full build. So I guess that double rocket does kind of fit in with Drake's game plan of going for Ultra Stall versus Sasha. So I think that makes sense. Ultra Stall makes sense because you want to get to a point where she can't. There's so much value on the board that she can't stop you from Super CO powering anymore. So that goes to Drake's favor when that happens. So double rocket does definitely support that goal. All right, so there's the Neo tank from Sasha. That's good. Against double rocket, actually a double Neo tank from Sasha. Yeah, you got to spend that money. I would hope that we're going to see a tank from the bottom base. Okay. So basically, there's only one Neo tank to deal with this rocket. I would have preferred to have seen Neo tank and then tank down here instead of the mech. That way you can hit the rocket from two sides and kind of smash down on it. But what we see is fine. Again, I would have strongly preferred not to float all this money. But since both players floated, it's not a huge deal. Okay, so looks like Green Earth is going to be able to capture the city next turn, or not next turn, but the following turn after the join probably. Unless Sasha has a 2-hit KO available to her. And another double rocket up top for Drake. That is actually crazy. So against 4 rockets, 1 from each base, I think the answer has to be like tank spam from every base, basically. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 bases. So that's 28K worth of tanks you can pump out in a turn. That's what I would be doing. It'd be like quadruple tank or quadruple or triple tank, medium tank. That's kind of what I would be doing as Sasha, because you probably don't want Drake to sort of sit back and silently build up a giant rocket army. And the other thing is like heavy tanks don't deal with rockets nearly as well as little tanks do, because little tanks you can sacrifice to hit a rocket and you're way up in value. Whereas you sacrifice a Neo tank to kill a rocket, you're actually at negative value. You could also think about recons. Although recons are not particularly strong on most areas of this map just because of the terrain not supporting the recons too well. Okay, so it looks like off one does a nice job here of capturing two things at once with only one interrupter available. So it looks like off one will get one of these two properties. That's nice. It's a nice little move. And looks like black hole doesn't get the double hit on the city. So this city is going to be captured, which is a win for green. Especially because now it has rocket backup. So the city is going to be hard to capture back by black hole. Basically, when you have rockets supporting your army, all of your captures are a lot more permanent. So yeah, so far I would say the biggest problem here is that black hole is not punishing the rocket builds as hard as you should hope. So are we about to see a one-hit KO here? Okay, so there is about like a 1/4 chance that this Neo tank outgoes this infantry and then a rocket dies for free. But if it goes wrong, then things get ugly and you have a free rocket hit on you. That's kind of a difficult decision. Going for it, doesn't get the kill. So yeah, now this rocket gets the free hit on this Neo tank. Well, it's like moderately free. This Neo tank can go up and kill this infantry, start the capture, and then threaten this rocket for next turn. So the exchange is going to be all right. So now looking at okay, yeah, exactly what off one does. Man, these guys are playing well for being like 700, 800. So off one looks like they are sitting on charge here. The danger is that Drake is about to get into tsunami range. So off one should probably market crash at the end of this turn before they build. So market crash. No market crash. Okay, this I would call like a pretty big mistake because allowing a tsunami this turn is really going to hurt. Yeah, not what you want to see. Yeah, because now this Neo like ultra dies. This one gets extra hurt. Drake is at the extra firepower, extra defense. And also, this infantry effectively blocks this Neo tank. So now it can't get to the rocket cluster here, which it really wants to. The good thing for Black Hole, though, is that they've pretty much completely won the center. I guess the only danger is that this Neo tank is about to come out here and ruin the day. But I guess the saving grace is this Neo tank. We'll see what happens. Okay, so here comes War Bonds. Interesting. Generally, we don't like to see a lot of War Bonds. It's just not a particularly strong Super CO power. Basically, like what it does, if you're not aware, is that for the I don't know exactly how it works. We can find that out. Yeah, for every fund of damage done, Sasha receives half. So like she's about to kill this rocket, so half of a rock. So she'll receive a quarter of 15K for killing this rocket right now. Yeah, really not too many good targets, honestly. And it's only damage done. Yeah, so that only netted 2.2K. if I did my math correctly. So I don't know if sacking a Neo tank for 2.2k is worth it. I say no. So income-wise, Sasha is going to be in the lead here with this capture that goes through. But positionally, Sasha has a little bit on the back foot in terms of Neo tank count on the top, which is kind of a big deal. And then Sasha keeps losing a lot of value down here in the south. Although she's about to get two rocket hits if she chooses it. She chooses the two rocket hits. That's pretty good. So this Neo tank going south, I guess you kind of have to because now this choke point is controlled by green. So I was going to critique that, but I guess there are not. Oh, that's so bad. You definitely don't want to allow killing an infantry is not worth the rocket shot here. That hurts a lot. It's going to hurt this momentum a lot. Because now this Neo tank can come up here, and there's going to be like a 8 HP Neo tank it's against, and then the 8 HP Neo tank is a lot worse than a full HP Neo tank when fighting another full HP Neo tank. Also, the AA build is pretty peculiar, especially because there's no infantry in this whole quadrant. So yeah, a tank is less expensive and hits all of these units down here better than an AA does. So that is kind of unusual. Oh, I see. So we have like a pretty asymmetric position right now with Sasha. Whoop, I already know how War Bonds works. So Sasha has a strange, like, pretty noticeable unit count advantage, but is down like a full build, a full day's worth of builds. So like really kind of not doing so well with unit value, but is enjoying like a 4K income advantage. So yeah, pretty asymmetric. It kind of depends on if Sasha can use her unit count advantage to her benefit. For instance, using artillery like we see here. So yeah, honestly, they're like reading my bind and then playing them out, playing the turnout in real time, playing the turnout in the past. So yeah, again, like we're seeing some like pretty good play from these players that are near the bottom of the ladder, but again, like doing a good job. I don't know what that infantry sack was all about. And then another power by Drake that was preventable by Sasha. So yeah, Sasha, I think, versus Drake, her goal should be prevent Drake from powering by using CO power, because her super CO power, as we saw last time, just got her maybe a total of like no more than 10k worth of money, which is kind of very little. It's kind of chump change. Yeah, I don't really understand that 7 HP Neo positioning. This guy should be in a more aggressive stance, I think. And did this guy just finish a capture? Yeah, the 7 HP Neo should probably be on the city if I had it my way. Yeah, this being here only kind of covers this sort of, and then doesn't really cover the top. So finding a better place for this Neo seems possible. Okay, looks like we. Okay, well, Drake has no meter, so I guess that Sasha not doing anything is fine. Okay, this is pretty dangerous. This attack by Drake weakens the Neo to the point where it can get one shot by a full HP Neo. So if Drake doesn't move this Neo tank, it could spell disaster. Okay, well this Neo tank is overstretched anyways, trying to hit here as well as here. I think that yeah. So I guess it's a little bit less bad, but still, there's like a pretty bad like two huge Neo hits here, or a huge Neo hit here and here. So this would actually be a good War Bonds turn. Also, I like this infantry just flying into the middle, trying to attack this artillery. That makes me happy. So yeah, here's War Bonds. This time I kind of agree with it. Sort of. Well, okay, this time it makes more sense than last time. But unfortunately, like with the amount of damage that Drake's going to take, he'll probably get Super CO power, in which case it's no longer worth it anymore. So I think it's far better to just go with your normal attack, no power until the end of your turn, and then War Bond. Excuse me, and then Market Crash. Okay, so off one notices the tactic, gets some good money, kills a Neo. Yeah, Drake is definitely going to get Tsunami if he saves up for it. Yep, there's the Tsunami. See, like, look at, okay, well, we'll get to the end of this turn and then I'll show you. So Sasha has built a Neo tank out of it. Okay. Maybe it is. Maybe it does make sense from a funds perspective. We can do the math really quick. So Sasha does full buy. Okay, so she started with 45K. Then she built 22. 22 is 44. Plus 30 is 74. 76. And she started with. So she basically got 30K worth of value out of that whole turn, but she's about to lose 40K in this tsunami. So yeah, it's actually not worth it. Like, it would have been far better to do a CO power turn, doing a CO power at the end of the turn, and then she doesn't get tsunamied. Yeah, so that's like pretty non-negotiable there. Well, not non-negotiable. You know what I mean? Like it's cut and dry. Like there's no ambiguity about whether one idea whether CO power is better than super CO power. In this case, uh, you know, super CO power is far worse. And plus, it allows a lot of hits like this 8 HP Neo tank just flying into this into the base, which is not. This might be GG here. GG. I mean, it's effectively GG. The only good thing that Sasha has going for her is her income, but 4K is not a huge amount when like more important than the difference between the incomes is like the difference in the incomes divided by the average income. So since the average income is so high, the difference in income matters less. Okay, so now all these Neos are wiped out. There's an uncontested Neo here. There's a rocket shutting down this passageway. There's just like uncontested Neo tanks everywhere. And Sasha doesn't really have anything left to do. She's at half the army value. Here comes market crash. Was it a good one? Well, the hard thing about this market crash is like Drake only has a star and a half. So maybe this would be actually a time to save it. Okay, well this is like a nice little clump of units. But losing all these properties in the center is going to be very painful for Sasha. Oh, losing a rocket. Oh god. Oh god. All right, maybe Sasha can recover. I'm not sure. So Drake would have probably gotten CO power from that huge attack at there. And once, so okay, again, not the power bar management you want to see with Sasha popping CO power at the beginning of the turn, because now Drake is going to recover a bunch of meter by the time that the turn is over, because of how much damage Sasha's about to do. So Drake might get CO power during this coming turn. Yeah, in fact, he's going to get it. So yeah, all these fights along the sides are kind of going even, but during all this noise, Green Earth is capturing a lot of properties in the center. So this game is pretty over. So now the tables are turned. Drake is up 4K instead of down 4K. Okay, we can just kind of skip through this. It's just the Python grasping firmer and firmer, suffocating the Sasha player to death. If you want to be weird about it, that's how I would say it. Okay, Tsunami. I'm surprised that Sasha's hanging on so long with half of the unit value. I guess it just goes to show how much, how much you can buy with, a quarter of the map, just like some of the properties on the map. It's war bonds. Yeah, so Sasha's been dead for a while. Although here come the the bad manner mega tanks, which just kind of draw on the game, making it longer and longer. Okay, I'm just going to skip my turn. Oh, is this the surrender here? Okay, there's the resignation. Okay, gotcha. I was afraid that they were going to like not resign, which is, I mean, some people think it's bad manners, but I think it's just annoying. I personally don't mind too much. Plus, it's fun to blow up stuff, so it's not the worst. For me, at least. So yeah, let's see. I would say like the main problem here with Sasha is power bar management. Is a very often overlooked problem, like skill in the game, and Sasha especially has to worry a lot about this. So like right here, she needs to enter turn with a market crash before she buys in order to deplete Drake's meter because now there's a CO power that's very valuable. And this happened several times. Like again, she had the meter to deny it, but she decided not to. Again, she decided to market crash instead of war bonds. And we did the math and realized that she profited something like 20K and lost 40 plus K in tsunami damage, so it didn't make any sense. And then it just kept happening over and over. I mean, by the end, Sasha, no, another war bonds here, which then promptly got eaten alive by a typhoon. So yeah, I would say mainly it's just not quite playing Sasha the right way. Like tactically, strategically, I mean, you could see actually before any of the bad mistakes, before any of like the iffy bar management came up. I mean, Sasha was kind of winning. At this position, it's a little weird because her unit value is a bit low. But on every other metric, she's doing just fine. And then, like, you know, a 5-star power that drains, sorry, a 4-star power that drains all of your units HP by 1 is just not something that you can allow when your power is just to deny that or have a very lackluster super power. So yeah, that was the 800 match. Sorry, the 700 match. See you guys next time on the 800 match.